So, what if being too nice was the very thing holding you back from the life you want? Today, we're going to break down a real-world coaching session and see how one person clawed their way out of the nice trap by finally taking a stand for themselves. Let's dive in.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever felt that being too nice is actually a problem? You know, that constant need to please everyone is maybe stopping you from getting what you truly want? Just keep that question in your back pocket as we go through this.
All right, so the whole issue for the person in our case study is something we can call the nice trap. And it's this fascinating, kind of backward pattern where the intense desire to be agreeable, it actually ends up creating this deep, simmering pot of frustration and resentment inside.
Okay, so this really lays out the two sides of the coin. On one side, you've got that passive, nice behavior. You know, avoiding conflict, letting other people make the big calls. In this person's case, he felt he didn't stand up for himself in massive life decisions, like his own marriage, which just led to this feeling of being trapped. The goal? To get to the other side, assertive behavior. That's all about owning your choices and being crystal clear about what you want. And this is where the coach just hits the nail on the head. The niceness wasn't seen as this wonderful, genuine trait. Instead, it was diagnosed as a mask, a cover-up for something much deeper, a real fear of taking a stand and just being authentic. Man, that one insight changes the whole game.
So you have to wonder, where does a pattern like this even start? Well, the coaching session didn't just stop at identifying the problem. No, they traced this fear all the way back to its roots. And it's pretty wild how a single moment from your past can cast such a long shadow over your entire adult life. So get this, a specific memory came up during the session. A fight in school. He got punched, and he didn't fight back. That one single incident created this powerful story he told himself for years and years, that he was weak. You can literally draw a straight line from that schoolyard moment to his adult pattern of avoiding confrontation in huge, life-altering decisions. And there's actually a name for this, a key psychological idea, self-perception. And the important thing to get here is that it's not really about what actually happened in the past. It's about the story we decide to tell ourselves about what happened. And that story, well, that story can end up running the show for years or even decades.
And this is the real kicker, right? The emotional price tag. Believing that story, that he was weak and couldn't take a stand, it led to a life that just felt off. It wasn't his. It didn't align with what he truly wanted. And the main feeling that grew out of that was this profound, deep-seated resentment.
Okay, but here's where things start to change. This is the turning point in the whole story. It's this massive pivot away from blaming everything and everyone else and toward taking real ownership of the future. This is what we're calling the responsibility shift.
You see, for so long, the story was all about what other people did. The source material shows that the coachee was constantly outsourcing the blame for his life choices, pointing the finger at his parents especially, for not getting what he wanted in his marriage and other parts of his life.
And then, bam, the coach just lays it on the line. No sugarcoating. This incredibly direct insight, framing his entire perspective as playing a victim role. That one sentence was the shock to the system he needed. It was the catalyst for the whole breakthrough.
So how do you actually make that shift? Well, it pretty much boiled down to these 3 actionable steps. First, you have to acknowledge the blame game you've been playing. Second, and this is so crucial, you have to forgive yourself for not standing up for yourself in the past. Just let that regret go. And finally, you make a commitment to take 100% ownership of your life, starting right now. And once that switch flips, it's a total game changer. Suddenly, you're not just reacting to the life that's happening to you anymore. You get to start actively designing the reality you actually want. This final piece is all about the incredible power of a clear vision. You know, once he let go of that old story, the clarity that came through was just incredible. He could finally spell out exactly what he wanted, not just what he was looking for in a partner, but the kind of life he wanted to build. A life built on authenticity, not fear. This vision becomes the new North Star, the new map for every decision going forward.
And really, that's what it all comes down to, right? It brings us full circle. The journey to building this new, authentic reality, it all starts with one single, courageous move, taking a bold stand for what you now know you truly want. It's the perfect antidote to the nice trap.
So I want to leave you with something to chew on, based on everything we've just walked through. What is the one single story from your own past that might be unconsciously writing your future for you? And maybe, more importantly, are you ready to pick up the pen and write a new one?